So Hayes Manufacturing was founded in 1966 by Ray and Betty Hayes. At that time, it was a small job shop in Rochester, Michigan, in their garage. And they sold the business to their sons, Jim and Jeff Hayes, in 1973. And they moved the company north here to Manton. At that time, it was still a job shop. Business was slow. Jim and Jeff Hayes needed some more revenue, so they created a new product line, which is the flexible coupling, and that's now what we do best. In 1990, they moved to our current location here in Fife Lake, and we've been growing ever since. Our lean journey began in about 2009 when we had a visit from one of our new customers, John Deere. At that time, they asked us where we were in our lean journey, and we had no idea what they were talking about, so we contacted the college and started on our lean journey in, I believe, 2010. Since then, things have changed over the years, so we've been going for about 6 years, and hopefully we can show you a little bit of that in a little bit. So our move to visual management was based on our late deliveries. At the time of our lean journey started, we had about 35% late deliveries, and the order process was handled by one person, our production control manager, and it was all in her head, along with a computer program that was not super helpful for scheduling. So we decided to go with a visual management scheduling board, and this board has been through numerous renditions. It started out as a piece of paper and an Excel file with construction paper to proof of concept. From there, it went to a whiteboard with magnets. After that, we went to a steel board, which is still underneath this, with chart tape. And this is the fifth rendition of this board, which is just a screen printed board put onto a sheet metal wall, basically. So each magnet on this board refers to a different job, and this is the amount of time it's going to take. So just for instance, this job that's going to run on October 5th is going to start at approximately 1 o'clock and finish by the 5 o'clock hour. And we're able to schedule pretty accurately for the customer in the moment with these visual boards. Every magnet on here has a meaning. The yellow one means the day that we're on. We've got a pink magnet, which means that it's out in the shop. This white magnet means that the job is actually being run at the cell. So if we were to go out to cell 7 right now, we'd be able to find that they're running this job currently. The pink magnet down here refers to something for our purchasing manager who needs to order this material. Green means it's been ordered, so our production manager can pull that job and send it out to the shop to run. So this is our shipping board, which ties in from the production board, which is the shop. And what we do here, after the production control manager schedules her jobs and knows when they're going to be done, she passes it over to our shipping scheduler, and she is able to plan based on when the job's going to be done. So each of these magnets refers to a different job that's in shipping. The different colors, again, have a meaning. Yellow means that it's pulled and it's in the shipping department. Green means that the job is picked. Red means that we have no material for that job. Pink means that we're waiting to pick. And then blue would mean that that customer's on credit hold, so we shouldn't be making that job currently. Between this board, our morning meetings that are at this board, and our other production board, we've been able to get our late shipments down to about 3% on average. We're always evolving our visual management tools. So the board started out as just a tool to schedule for shipping, and over the time it's evolved to show what's actually happening. So using the different colored dots, along with being able to schedule our cycle counts every morning. So we've blocked off an hour of time for all of our cycle counts. We also use it to show who's on vacation, so we can adjust our flow based on the needs of the shipping department. Something else we've done is we've added where we have to stop our trucks by. So being in Fife Lake, it's hard to get trucks here throughout the day. So we have to have them done by approximately 2 o'clock in order to get a truck here that day. So we put that on the board so we know. We're using more capacity magnets to show when shipping's full, so we know that we can't schedule anything else on that day. And along with saving time at the end of the day for reds and must ships for certain customers in the UPS. The board is scheduled in 5-minute increments. So on the left-hand side here, we have the date, Monday the 17th, so that would be in October, and then we have 5-minute increments all across the top. So If it's a one-piece job, it takes 5 minutes, and from there we base it on the time it takes to make each job. I apologize for the noise. This is just another layer of visual management that we use. These are our production boards that relate back to the production board that's in the office. So this is at cell 4. What you have here is the part number they're running, the quantity of the job, the setup target time, and then down here we have the target parts per hour with the actual parts per hour that they record on an hourly basis. So you can see here from this one, we were supposed to get 13 parts per hour, and in the first actual full hour of runtime, we got 31 parts an hour. So that tells us that our estimate was wrong. So on the board in the office, we have an 8-hour block of time. Really, we should have only had about a 4-hour block of time. So we'll be updating that based on this production board. We've got the delta codes next to the production board, which tells us why they may have missed their target. We can see here they were getting 31 and 25, and then they went down to 14. If I look down at the 10 to 11 hour block, I can see it was a TI delta code, which tells me they had tooling issues. So I can see what's going on this board at a glance without having to interrupt them during their flow. We run a lot of our inventory based on a Kanban system, and we've done that also visually. So this is our visual board for our saw department. This is all of the material that we need to keep on hand at any given time in order to make sure we can make the parts we need for our customer. So just as an example, we've got a 6.5-inch material here, 6.5 8620. The actual amount is recorded on top at all times, so we have 33 feet 6 inches. We need to maintain a 30-foot minimum, so that's this line here. As our operator cuts this material, he'll remeasure, change his quantity, move his magnet. If he falls below the line, he'll pull the tag, hang it on the knead hook, and our purchasing department will come around and grab those and replenish that steel the next day. This has really helped us make sure we've got the material on hand that we need at any given time. Used to be a really big issue. We'd send a job to the shop. We didn't have the material. You lose a good week of time in order to get that material ordered and here on to make the job. This is our daily board. This board we cover all of our key metrics for the day. It's a rolling week, so we've got Monday, Tuesday of this week, and then Wednesday will be covered tomorrow, Thursday, Friday of last week. These help us keep our finger on the pulse of the business. So we're talking about orders every day, how many orders came in, and where do we want to be, so we know how we're doing every day. We've got our cells that are late. This comes off of the board in the office. Our near misses, so we're talking our safety, our accidents, our machines down, which is also related back to that board in the office. If the machine's down, we're not hitting our production numbers. It's important to know that. Our rejects coming from the customer. Our late shipments coming off the shipping board, if we're not getting them done on time. We're talking about it here. We want to have 0 every day. Customer complaints, quotes, how many quotes we're doing, because that generates orders. Customer service score, we send in a customer service score with every shipment that we do. Minor injuries, so we're tracking Band-Aid usage, Tylenol if you hurt yourself here, and then non-conforming, how many parts are waiting for me to address. From here, it goes over to our trend board, which is populated monthly. So this data comes from here, and so we can see it, how we're doing on a monthly basis. And then from this point, it goes up to a run the business board, which is for the management to review on a quarterly basis.
So in terms of visual management boards, we have many of those that we have deployed throughout our whole business, but that causes a lot of data to come towards the management level, and we had a hard time figuring out what to do with all of the data that we were working with. So we worked with the college. They came in and they trained us about how to do strategic planning. And so part of that strategic planning was working with A3 format. So we came up with our mother A3, and from that mother A3 we came up with our big plans that we wanted to do, our big rocks for the whole year. And so those are displayed here so that anybody at any time in the management team would like to know where we're at in terms of projects that we've determined to be strategically important for the company. They can just come up here and see what status each one is at, which is nice. Additionally, we have weekly meetings where the management will come to this board, and we will talk about the information that we have displayed here. The graphs that we have below, they correlate to the A3 above. And so we can actually go through, and some of it has to do with late shipment information, some of it has to do with the financial information for the company, and then just some are other graphs, other information that we felt was important to us to review to help us understand the progress that we're making with our baby A3s. So before we had the Run the Business board, there was a lot of paper shuffling. So someone would ask a question and, oh, I don't have that in front of me. So you get up and leave the meeting and go through your Excel spreadsheets and try to find the right one. Hopefully you have something to back up or answer their question with. But it was wasted time that this helps solve. And it kind of helps us with a standard work format. We've determined the things that, as a management team, we think are important to know on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. So now everybody knows what's expected of them, what information they bring to the meetings, because everyone knows the format. And so it's a reduction of wasted time. So another benefit of having the Run the Business board is that the financial information has become more visible to all the owners. And before, all the information was just generally in my office or my hands. And so now it's great because we have a lot of feedback on the numbers, plus we can go back and compare these numbers that we're accumulating now to prior years. It helps us make good decisions going forward because we know what our averages are, what is an outlying indicator. It helps everybody participate more in the successful running of the financial aspect of the company.
The rest of the family that took over the business for the last 2 years when we owned it, they started, let's say, running everything for a couple of years. And they started looking into the lean processes. And so we did not have a lot of hands-on ourselves. We were more like an observer of that process. And whereas when the way we used to run things, let's say, was the old way, let's say, we would basically, Jeff would keep everything in his head, and the girls, our wives and stuff like that, and you just kept track of where everything was at, and you'd move things around to meet schedules and stuff like that. But as from my observation, lean allows them to visually keep track of everything, and it seems like the system, once it's put in place correctly, actually helps drive the flow through the shop. The person remembering every little minutia of things isn't quite as important as it was, let's say, the way we used to run it.
I remember one of the days Daryl came in, and him and Holly were out in the shop, and they were pasting things on the walls. And oh no, I had those walls painted and I had those walls cleaned. There was nothing going on those walls. Well, that's the old school, I guess, like Jim was talking about. Holly was in tears, and Jeff was coming to me and saying, "You do that one more time and we're gonna have a talk, Grandpa." Well, that was it. That was it for me. I realized that the change was coming.
I was very resistant to it, but I tried to keep an open mind and sit back and watch it work, and it does work. It's really interesting just how well it works, and it's counterintuitive to the way we had run the business, and so I think that was one reason why it was good that we were backing away from the business at that time, because it was so difficult for us to wrap our minds around that. Whereas sitting back and watching it happen, we could sit back and say, "Oh, gee, that works well," and "Oh, that works well." And whereas, you get a little headstrong too as you get older, and you kind of get set in your ways, And so, I don't think that we ever could have done it personally.
We were used to running 5,000 pieces of a part, and so when it came to them running like 100 pieces at a time in a lot, it didn't make a lot of sense, because to me it meant more setups. But I could see that we had inventory out there that maybe they discontinued that engine and we couldn't sell it. And so, so that's just one really important part of the lien, I guess, that I could see now. At least I'm letting them put stuff on the wall. So.